We can't expect our police, and I don't fault them at all, to be able to control this. But I know that we asked our faith base yesterday to stand at the front line between police and looters and rioters. And I am simply not comfortable telling my churches, those people, to be the intermediary in the middle of a riot that's citywide. We need something better, because right now we only have 370 whatever National Guards on standby. Half our neighborhoods are already obliterated. It's too late. We have to come up with a better plan, because my fear is once they're done looting and rioting and whatever's going to happen tonight, God help us, what happens when they start going after residents, going into the neighborhood? Once they start trying to break down people's doors so they think they got something, or, we know that people are here to antagonize and incite, and you've got them all pumped today. They're not going to go to bed at 8 o'clock. They're going to turn their focus in the neighborhood. I've got gangbangers with AK-47s walking around right now, just waiting to settle some scores. What are we going to do, and what do we tell our residents other than good faith people stand up? It's not going to be enough.
Thank you, Alderman. Next question.
Well, no, I want an answer. You commented on everybody. I want an answer. It's not something you ignore. This is a question that I have.
I think you're 100% full of shit is what I think. If you think
no offense, fuck you then. Who are you to tell me I'm full of shit?
If you think we were not ready and we stood by and let the neighborhood go up, there's nothing intelligent that I can think.
Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 9th of June, and on today's podcast, we're going to be discussing a lot here today. First and foremost, an autonomous zone is being created in downtown Seattle, and you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It's almost like a makeshift bunker, a fortress, if you will, made by Antifa militants, and they're actually calling for civilians to arm themselves and guard this. This is actually a very dangerous situation, and we'll be discussing that furthermore. Also, my friends, we'll be going over the occult and their obsession with gold. We saw George Floyd's casket today decked out in gold. Was he a martyr to them? Was he a sacrifice? Very, very strange, and we'll be digging on that as well, my friends. So remember, it is an honor for me to step foot on the front lines with you here today, because where we go one, we go all. Guys, have you ever thought about investing in Bitcoin? Well, Noble Gold did. They were paying close attention, as always. They are one of a handful of companies in the US who do crypto IRAs. Yeah, you heard that right. They can put your crypto into an IRA or 401k plan. Noble Gold has also slashed their own fees on Bitcoin IRA and 401k deals, along with a waiver of their first year's fee. That's right, a waiver of their first year's fee for anyone putting in over $20,000. That's a savings of over $400 on custodial and setup fees. Plus, you're going to get a tax break. That's free money from the IRS. Call them at 877-646-5347 and tell them that True Reporting sent you. Learn how you can grow your IRA with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The link is in the description box below. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the podcast. All right, guys, it's good to have you aboard. Before we get into today's podcast, would you please go ahead and subscribe to my backup channel right now, True Reporting 2.0. This channel is under heavy censorship suppression, and I would be most appreciative if you did subscribe to my backup channel, and just in case this channel gets deplatformed. Also, guys, please go ahead and click that notification bell so when I upload a video to my main channel, this channel, or go live, you'll get the alert and you'll be the first to know. And finally, friends, please show some love for this channel channel and leave a like, a thumbs up if you will. I would really appreciate it. And with that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and hop into it together. This is True Reporting. So, coming at us from Andy Nijo, I believe that's how it's pronounced. He's talking about these autonomous zones. It is becoming very dangerous in the state of Washington. He says here, Seattle Mayor Ginny is allowing a dangerous situation to fester. Antifa militants have taken over and created an, in quote, an autonomous zone in the city with their own rules. Police precinct abandoned. Antifa set up barricades to create a border. It's almost like a makeshift fort, and they are calling for volunteers to provide armed guards. This is not good, my friends. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Folks in Seattle have secured 6 blocks of city at the moment and have barricaded it and gotten local businesses and residents to agree to, well, disaffiliate from Seattle basically. It's a flux state in the making. You are entering free Capitol Hill, a makeshift fortress, guys. And again, they're asking civilians to guard it. They have gotten out of control. Speaker at the autonomous zones advocating folks with firearms take shifts defending the barricades. This is getting organized. And we all know that Q has told us that they have watched every single move. They know the playbook of Antifa. It's been around for a while. It's just been in the background. And now it has become the forefront. So we can see the outlinings of this. This is taking over baseball fields. This is all downtown and political community centers and speech areas. We also have the regime encampment off Broadway near the medic stations. Regime occupied Safeway here. Police hold up here. Remember, they took over that precinct. And back here, houses along Olive offering food and bathroom access to protesters and those marching. This has become a fortress, and this is extremely dangerous. This is something to not take lightly, guys. Be careful if you're in the state of Washington. In 2018, Ted Wheeler allowed a similar Antifa zone in Portland to go on for 5 weeks. Look at this picture. This is nothing to play around with. It looks like a hobo shanty, but it's actually very scary. Not only did it become a biohazard site with intravenous drug abuse, the local businesses and residents were terrorized. Taxpayers had to pay for the extensive cleanup. Of course they did. They come in, they ruin things, and then they leave. This is what they do, my friends, and it's very dangerous. So please, all fellow patriots that live in Seattle, brace yourselves, arm yourselves if you're able to. I wanted to move into something that is extremely interesting, guys. This is crazy. What does it mean to be covered in gold? So, speaking on George Floyd's casket, pure gold. Is he in there? I don't know. But nevertheless, was this almost like an altar, a sacrifice, something of that nature? We can see Kobe right here. Again, what happened to him? Covered in gold. He may not even have known what was going on, but still, their symbolism will be their downfall, right? We can see a post, 194, Iran deal, and why symbology? Why does it mean to be covered in gold? Which couple was photographed covered in gold? What does it mean to be covered in gold? Can you locate one other pic with the Y head covered in gold? And we're going to get into a Neon Revolt, an old article from Neon Revolt explaining this and breaking it down. Please follow 8% Revolt, by the way. He's really good at what he does. Symbolism will be their downfall. So moving forward, what does it mean to be covered in gold? This is from July 27th of 2019. Again, the Iran deal and the Y symbolism. Uranium 1, and then we can see what I just read, speaking of what does it mean to be covered in gold. Then we see these children that looks like they're within a giant pentagram. The UN warns Britain over child voodoo rituals, pedo sex, tourists, the occult industry of gold-leafed covered fetuses. This is all very real and it is very disturbing, so brace yourselves. Roasted fetuses, gold leaves, occult rituals. Exactly what Kuman Thong? The arrest of a British man who was found with 7 roasted human fetuses in his luggage, which we talked about before on this channel, has brought the ancient practice back into the spotlight. Beware. While there is some debate whether or not some of these images are what they are purported to be, if real, they are quite disturbing. Then Neon Revolt actually covered this later on. He says here, the skin of the gods, the cabal's obsession with gold. And we can see, this is from April 18, 2018. Legionaries, I'm not going to lie, this one is going to be rough. Fair warning, this post contains pictures of dead children. They look like movie props and have clearly been dead for a very long time, to the point where they're basically mummified. But if that's going to be upsetting to you, leave now. Okay, getting into it, he says, we'll review some old Q posts from back in November. And again, this is the one I read to you, post 195. What does it mean to be covered in gold? Why are they covered in gold? And can you locate another pic with the Y head covered in gold? Rothschilds, right? There they are, covered in gold. Everything. What is the obsession with this, right? Ancient Egyptians considered gold the skin of gods, specifically the sun and the god Ra, and often used it to craft objects of spiritual significance. Why is this relevant? Remember, this is a post. Gold, Q. Look at this, 196 and post 197. Why is this relevant? So even if we don't know what the cabal does with all that gold, they're clearly obsessed with it for some reason. Next, I want you to read this CDAN post. Since I have a lot of new followers, for those who don't know, CDAN stands for Crazy Days and Nights. It's a blog ran by a very high-up entertainment lawyer who has basically been spilling the beans for the past few years, disclosing all these secrets and misdeeds. Frankly, I don't know if he's still alive, or how he's still alive, rather. Anyway, he published this today. About a decade ago, an international criminal ring sourced a great deal of money to fund an investment. This investment was paid off spectacularly for them. They found a remote corner of an impoverished Asian country and set up a destination where ultra-wealthy clients could indulge in all sorts of illegal evil. The owners provide all of these things for their clients. They even gave the government a piece of the action. Child prostitutes, check. Drugs of any kind, check. Other goods, which are in a specific demand in that part of the world, are openly available in relatively large quantities. Pictures have even popped up very recently. As a side to all of this, the group also traffics in endangered animals including bears, tigers, and elephants. Other goods? That's a very strange choice of words. Well, legionaries, here comes the heartbreak. Last chance to look away. As we could see, Britain arrested in Thailand after being found with 6 roasted humans. More photos have found their way online since, covered in gold. Why would they do this? This is not natural, and there must be something occultish to this, esoteric to it as well. So down below, we can also think of gold. Who has a lot of gold? England does, and is one of the homes of the cabal. Remember, these Q drops about gold? Those are the Rothschilds. When they hosted a quote, a surrealist party, then in front of another post talks about skins of gods and how it was often used to craft objects. The sun god Ra, skin of gold. See the QAnon post below. Many governments of the world feed the eye. Who could possibly be doing this? Well, in the third Q drop, it says why. What does it mean to be covered in gold? The Y being a reference to the goat here, or Baphomet. I would venture those babies were going to be used in a satanic ritual. A triangle has 3 sides. In Laos, do you know where the King Roman's casino is located? In an area called the Golden Triangle Economic Zone, where Laos in Thailand and Myanmar share a border of 3 different countries. The U.S. slapped sanctions on Laos's Golden Triangle Casino in bid to break up the narco empire. So we have a piece of the cabal engaged in horrific activities. I can only imagine the horrors these victims of this network endure. We have to expose all evil because we know the MSM won't do it. Endangered game hunting, parties eating these animals like tigers, pedivore angle here is disturbing but well within the realm of possibility considering this place seems to have no limitations, by design, a depravity playground. At a time when China is cracking down on the sale of illegal wildlife parts within its own borders, slabs of rhino horns and pieces of ivory were available in stalls inside the entrance of the Blue Shield Casino. EIA investigators say Chinese tourists can buy a tiger for 3 million yen or a moon bear for 170,000 yen. The animals are sometimes slaughtered, and their meat served to, quote, gambling parties in casino VIP rooms. This sounds just like a place for where the occult members can get together, where the elite members get together, and they can spend $3 million on a tiger, probably sacrifice it, and then eat it. Remember, they do this stuff when it comes to spirit cooking with Marina Abramovic, when they do all of that kind of witchcraft. That's exactly what it is. They are offering something up to a deity, to an evil entity, and they think that they get something in return. I believe that they do, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be doing it. They're not doing it just to do it, is my point. Moving forward, guys, I wanted to show you this coming at us from IET. Do you believe in coincidences? POTUS tweets 55% to 34%. Let's take a look at this post and this drop, 55 and 34. We can see Trump better than Biden on economic growth, 55% to 34%. That's all. Who are the 34%? Post 55. Look to Twitter. Exactly this. My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. God bless. And then post 34 is the Q clearance patriot. My fellow Americans, again, this is the exact same post that they were referring to here. It is just the long version. Remember, we will get this tweet, and then we will know that the storm is upon us. He started to say it in another interview a couple weeks ago. And I think we're on the brink of seeing it in real time. I wanted to show you this as well, guys. George Floyd's family asked United Nations to disarm police in the U.S. Do you see what's going on here? How would this family even ask United Nations to disarm the police in the U.S., right? Because the UN is deep state, and that's the reason we're getting away from it. And there's another reason that POTUS despises them and always puts them down. The family of George Floyd, the black man killed while in police custody in Minneapolis on Memorial Day, has sent a letter to the globalist United Nations to ask for his help in disarming police officers in the United States of America. Folks, they want pandemonium. They want this country to fall. We are an empire, and we will not fall. Remember, you can't teach people, you have to show them, and POTUS has put the reins of this craziness, of this absolute criminality in the hands of the governors and the mayors and the congressmen, because he's exposing them for what they are doing. So, referring back to the beginning of this podcast, if you think about what's taking place in Seattle, where you have these autonomous zones set up by Antifa, they're allowing it to happen. Vote them out as quick as possible. The group sent a letter on June 3rd to one of the international bodies working groups asking for support for the end of the provision of military equipment and military-type training for police, the teaching of de-escalation techniques, independent prosecutions, and autopsies for extrajudicial police killings, and more. When a group of people of any nation have been systematically deprived of their universal human rights to life by its government for decades, it must appeal to the international community for its support and to the United Nations for its intervention. Floyd's family's attorney, Ben Crump, said in a press release, the UN issued a statement on May 28th, 3 days after Floyd's death, and included the names of other black people in the U.S. who died in police custody. Michelle Bachelet, UN Commissioner on Human Rights, is quoted in the statement, which says, in part, this is the latest in a long line of killings of unarmed African Americans by U.S. police officers and members of the public, end quote, Bachelet said. I am dismayed to have to add George Floyd's name to that of Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, and many other unarmed African Americans who have died over the years at the hands of the police, as well as the people such as Ahmaud Arbery and Trayvon Martin who were killed by armed members of the public. Take our guns away, take the police away so that they can move in, right? So they can have their deep state army move in. The U.S. authorities must take serious action to stop such killings and to ensure justice is being done when they do occur. The procedures must change. Prevention systems must be put into place, and above all, police officers who resort to excessive use of force should be charged and convicted for the crimes they committed. The role that entrenched and pervasive racial discrimination plays in such deaths must also be fully examined, properly recognized, and dealt with, she added. While saying she understood the anger unleashed by Floyd's killing, Bachelet urged people in Minneapolis and elsewhere to protest peacefully. NBC did not report on whether or not the Floyd family or its legal counsel have heard back from the UN. They are pandering to the black community. Black patriots out there, please be aware of that. And guys, we were speaking of Antifa earlier. Are Antifa leaders being scooped up by the feds now? Check this out, guys.
No, she did not.
We watched her.
She put her hand up. She put her hand up.
Right here.
So you can see the policemen dressed in green behind them, unmarked vehicles. These are federal agents.
Yo, what the fuck? This is an unmarked car.
Unmarked car, federal agents.
You follow us, you will get shot. You understand me?
You follow us, you will be shot.
Where's she going?
She's going to jail, baby.
Where? You have to tell us where you're taking her.
Remember, Antifa is now categorized as a terrorist group, and this is what happens. Bring in federal agents. Bring in the military. This is what has got to happen. This is what has got to happen, guys, in real time. You've got to understand that we are dealing with a terrorist group. This cannot be taken lightly. My friends, if you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. I would greatly appreciate it. Remember, we are on the front lines together, because where we go one, we go all. Guys, if you found what you just watched informative and you enjoyed it, then please subscribe to the TRUreporting family today. There are many ways to support this channel, like our Patreon link, our PayPal link, and our TRUreporting.us official website link in the description box below. Join the TRUreporting family today and be a part of history, because where we go one, we go all.